Is my manager too strict? I got this text from my boss at work last week. Now I'm reading directly from this text. It's 6 p.m. This is on exactly 6 p.m. It's 6 p.m. and I'm not seeing any posts or anything completed that I asked you to. We just talked about this yesterday. Please collect your things and go home for the night. You were dismissed for the rest of your shift. I will be letting accounting know that your shift end time was 6. Full stop. I want to add that I've been here for almost... Now I'm going back into the context. I want to add that I've been here for almost 2 years, and other than showing up for late to work a couple of times, our executives and my coworkers like having me here. I'm a social media coordinator and I've, quote, held down the fort for about 4 months now with no manager or no help. This new manager has been here for 3 weeks and still doesn't know how to do about 60% of what my tasks are, which is detrimental to the company's operations. It's also hard to train my manager because I'm technically their assistant and I think their ego gets in the way of me trying to teach them. I'm not sure if I should A, quit right now, B, let her fire me, and then feel dumb because she doesn't know how to do as much as I do, or 3, talk to our HR team and our higher-ups. And this is from Warped Bandit.
I'm sorry, Warped Bandit. It's really hard to have a new boss. It's really hard to have to educate a new boss. And so I would say a couple of things. It sounds like Warped Bandit maybe feels a little bullied by this boss. And so if you're feeling that way, the one thing, well, here's 3 things I always recommend before going in to talk to your boss about what's happening. Because you want to make sure whenever you're going to have this kind of conversation that you know what your BATNA is. What's your best alternative to a negotiated agreement? Like maybe the conversation will go great, but it's a risky conversation to have. So what can you do to de-risk it? 1, jot down a couple, even if you have no intention of taking legal action, document what's going on. Because it's easy when your boss is sort of super aggressive this way, it's easy to feel gaslit. Like, is it me or is it them? So jot down the things that have happened that make you feel bullied or micromanaged. And often, by the way, it sounds like there's research that shows that micromanagement can be a form of bullying. So write those things down. Talk to someone who you trust about this. It's important to build solidarity. Talk to a mentor. You don't want to talk badly about this manager behind their back to people at work, but find someone who you can talk to about what's going on, just as to sort of, again, help you feel less gaslit. And 3, locate the exit nearest you. If you know that you can quit and get another job easily, you go into the conversation with a great deal more confidence. But don't quit before you try to give it a chance. I mean, it sounds like this person already has 1 foot out the door. And I often, when I'm coaching people, I say to them, if you already have 1 foot out the door, why not take the risk to have a direct conversation? So when you go talk to the boss, I think you want to start by soliciting feedback. Don't dish it out before you prove you can take it. And also, so even though you're the employee and they're the boss, you want to show some radical candor leadership and solicit feedback first. Also, that'll give you a way of knowing where they're coming from. So you'll better be able to gauge how what you're going to say lands. So start by soliciting feedback and really, think about, like, how are you going to ask it? Don't say, do you have any feedback for me? Because obviously you've already just gotten some. So say some version of what could I do or stop doing that would make it easier to work with me, or whatever it is. That don't write that down. That's my question. If you sound like Kim Scott, not like yourself, they won't believe you want the answer. But get some sense of where they're coming from. Also, even if you're not ready to give voice to it, think about a couple of things you appreciate about this person. It's so easy to start to treat a boss like some other authority figure in your life. And often being the boss, you feel like you're kind of a projection screen for everyone's unreason. So think about a couple of things that you try to humanize this person, at least in your own mind. And then and you can do all this. Is not like some kind of Six Sigma process. You can do all this in a in a day or two. Then go to your boss and say, look, you told me that I hadn't done any of the posts that you wanted me to do, but let me show you what I had done, because I'm assuming that the boss is wrong about this. Let me show you what I have done, and then maybe we can talk about a better way for me to keep you updated, you know. And in fact, you could start that way. I'd like to, you know, what can I do to do a better job keeping you updated? Might be a way to solicit feedback. And then say, oh, that's really helpful, because when you said I hadn't done these posts, actually, here's what I had done. And so I think that can be useful. It's possible that the new manager has a clear idea of some changes they want to make, and it would be good to understand what those changes are. And you don't have to agree with all of them, but when you first hear about those changes, like, look for the 5 or 10% of whatever they're saying that you can agree with. Give voice to that, just to show that you're not shut down to feedback. And then go back and say, you know, as for the rest of it, could I think about it and then get back to you? And if you disagree with them, do get back to them. Do tell them why you disagree. And, you know, and at some point you have to listen, challenge, commit. And if you can't commit, then you should quit. But at least now you've had the opportunity to maybe get on the same page with this new boss.
Yeah. I think they're great steps. Like, my first read of this is that your boss is being a dick. Like, yeah. he sent you this message at exactly...
The boss is a woman.
Oh, sorry.
But that's not to say that a woman can't be a dick. As my kids are always telling me.
Like, to send that message at exactly 6 p.m. saying it's 6 p.m. like, and like this big crafted message, like that was sitting on this for a while. They were ready to send it. So
yeah,
I think your boss is acting
like a jerk
in obnoxious aggression for sure.
Yeah.
But that being said, I wouldn't leave immediately. Like, you've only been working with this person for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So and you know, everyone said you said everyone likes you, which means like you probably like this working environment.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't just leave based on that. I would put the work in to try and work it out with this new boss. And Kim, in your book, you talk a lot about, you know, bring your whole self to work. And it's about building strong relationships, you know, as a manager with the people you manage. And that can go in reverse as well. You are trying to manage up a bit here. But try and build a relationship with this person. Like Kim said, it's about, you know, try and find the good. What do you like in this person? Try and come at this, you know, from a place of empathy and a place of care, and get on the same page and understand, where do they come from? Why are they in this role? Like, what are they aiming for? What are they trying to turn this team into? And see what you can get on board with, and just have a crack there. And then, as Kim said, I like the idea of starting with advice first. You know, go and ask for advice on yourself. One tool that I use across my company, when we're just learning how to give feedback better, was that at the start of every meeting we had, we would have a start, stop, continue. And it was just a box which said, what would you like me to start doing? What would you like me to stop doing? And what would you like me to continue doing? And, you know, as Kim outlines in the book, when someone gives you feedback, they often then will kind of just ask for feedback too. It's like this little trick. So if you start doing that and say, hey, I'd like to ask you these questions, I think you'll start to, you know, learn a little bit more, start more positive conversations. Because if you're asking for feedback too, this person is going to feel like they don't have to keep being so challengery or attacky kind of stuff. So yeah, I think effectively it just sounds like I'm recycling your points, Kim. But if I summarize this, it's your boss is being a jerk, but don't let that be don't let that be a reason to leave immediately. Try and have a conversation. Start that conversation from a place of empathy, from a place of care. Try and learn about this person, build a relationship with them. Try and understand what they're doing in their business and what their goal is. And start by asking for feedback on you more. See if that builds a relationship better. And then if it doesn't, and you still hate it, then you can leave. That's fine. You've given it a go.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's great feedback, especially like the stop, start, continue conversation. You said something that I wrote in the book, and I got some feedback on it, so I want to share it. So bring your whole self to work. A bunch of people told me, you know what, it's not safe for me to bring my whole self to work, which is what prompted me to write the next book, Just Work. And there is, when your boss has too much power, I think that it is really difficult to figure out how to respond to that. And there's a chapter in this book, Just Work, about what to do when your boss is bullying you. It's chapter 7, starts on page 215. So if you want more detailed advice, feel free to check out Just Work.
And if that's not an example of taking feedback well, I don't know what is. Kim, you took feedback from a reader and you wrote a new book. So, hey, if you want a book written in your honor, just challenge one of Kim's ideas with a fundamentally sound idea, and you might get a book out of it.
That's right.
Well, we'll wrap that one up. Warped Bandit. I think you've got some good advice there, but start Just Work on page 215.